Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.
Before we get started, a warning that this episode contains mentions of suicide. Hello, from Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month, we're diving into the divas of history, explaining how the label's been used with many angles, whether describing women pejoratively or with admiration. You find yourself watching a film devoid of color and dialogue. The sweeping landscapes and orchestral arrangements transport you to the golden age of Chinese cinema. Suddenly, the leading actress enters the screen. The camera zooms in for a close-up, and with the simple raise of her head and look in her eyes, she conveys the struggling mother, a young girl in love, and a woman in the throes of death by her own hands. All these things without words. Let's talk about Ruan Lingyu. Ruan Lingyu was born in Shanghai in 1910 as the Qing dynasty was on its way to being overthrown. The transition from cultural isolation to more Western influences would prove to be a difficult time in Ruan Lingyu's childhood. At just 6 years old, she lost her father to a work incident, leaving her and her mother without financial security. To support her family, Ruan Lingyu's mother became a maid, a job looked down on by society. Determined for her daughter not to meet the same fate, Ruan Lingyu's mother sent her to school, with the caveat that she not tell anyone about her background. But by 1926, Ruan Lingyu had dropped out of school to help her mother with piling expenses. While looking for work in the paper, she found an ad for an actress. Seeing no reason not to try, she applied to Mingxing Film Company. A year later, she debuted in A Married Couple in Name Only, a silent film that's been since lost to time. Still, it's remembered today for Ruan Lingyu's ability to convey complex emotions despite her age and lack of experience. Because of this film, Ruan Lingyu was able to help her mother out financially, and she was also able to move in with her childhood sweetheart, Zhang Damin. He was the son of the family that Ruan Lingyu's mother worked for, but because of his gambling addiction, he had little to no funds. Ruan Lingyu was providing for him as well. In 1930, Ruan Lingyu joined leftist production company, Lianhua Film Company, where she was paired with the top directors of the time. She starred in several films that tackled social injustice, like Love and Duty, A Spray of Plum Blossoms, The Peach Girl, and Little Toys. These roles not only showed her versatility, but also portrayed the lives of average Chinese women as they made their way in the changing world. Ruan Lingyu's ability to execute these parts with sincerity made her a sought-out actress. Her finest role came in the form of 1934's The Goddess. Ruan Lingyu played an unnamed single mother who has to work as a prostitute to support her son. Throughout the film, we follow the mother's struggle as she's not only subjugated by her pimp, but by society. The movie ends with the mother pushed to the breaking point. The camera pans to her tear-stained face as she sits in prison for murder, losing her son in the process. Before the screen fades to black, she looks up, seeing a vision of her son living a happy life without her, smiles and closes her eyes. The film spotlighted the stigma and prevalence of sex work among the women of Shanghai, making Ruan Lingyu's portrayal much more meaningful. By that point, Ruan Lingyu was a household name. Her fame had her gracing advertisements, magazine covers, and more importantly, movie screens. And of course, with fame came changes in Ruan Lingyu's personal life. She left her childhood sweetheart, settling into the arms of a wealthy married tea tycoon named Tong Jishan. And with fame also came jealousy. Zhang Demin, Ruan Lingyu's ex, filed a lawsuit claiming that Ruan Lingyu had stolen funds. The following year, he sued her again, this time for adultery with Tong Jishan, and asked for a percentage of both of their assets. This got the attention of Chinese tabloids who'd already been snooping into Ruan Lingyu's private life. Seeing dollar signs, Zhang Demin began selling stories to the tabloids, and the public began to pry. In 1935, Ruan Lingyu starred in the movie New Women that eerily resembled her situation. The film follows a school teacher who ignores the advances of a man, and in his rage, he digs up her past to sell to tabloids. It ends with Ruan Lingyu's character overdosing on sleeping pills. At the film's release, it was panned by critics. They felt it was an unfair portrayal of them. In return, they became even more hostile, dedicating inches of column space to rumors and gossip about Ruan Lingyu's life. Her life began to spiral. The lawsuits deteriorated her relationship. Tong Jishan had blamed her for embarrassing him. Her movie roles began impacting her mental health, and the news cycle never stopped. The night before she was set to appear in court, Ruan Lingyu, like her character, overdosed on sleeping pills. After finding her unconscious, Tong Jishan stalled in getting her help, fearing the publicity. On March 8, 1935, Ruan Lingyu was pronounced dead. In a suicide note released to the media, she stated, "Gossip is a fearful thing." She was just 24 years old. At the word of her death, the city mourned. Her funeral procession was more than 3 miles long, with tens of thousands of people following behind a car adorned with flowers and a giant photo of the starlet. It's stated that the grief was so strong on that day that during the march, 3 women committed suicide. The New York Times dubbed it the most spectacular funeral of the century. Though Ruan Lingyu's story is one of sadness and grief, her legacy is beloved. Though most of her movies were lost due to damage from World War II, all 29 of her films are cataloged. Film historians from all over recognize her place as one of China's leading actresses despite the brevity of her work. And her son continues to shine as an icon of China's Republican era. Her portrayal of independent modern women inspired a generation who saw their stories and triumphs broadcast on the big screen. And though, like many of her roles, they did not meet happy or just ends, their memories are immortalized. All month, we're talking about divas. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
At Ritual, we know what goes into a magical holiday season. The potluck planning, the gift giving, the spreadsheets. This new year, take a moment for yourself with simple, daily rituals that help you put your foundational health at the top of your to-do list. Ritual's Essential for Women 18 Plus multivitamin is a clinically backed multivitamin featuring 9 high-quality key essential ingredients to help you fill key nutrient gaps in your diet. Or maybe you're stressing your daily protein intake, or you want to double down on support for your gut microbiome. From plant-based essential protein to 3-in-1 pre, pro, and postbiotic strains with Symbiotic Plus, Ritual helps you focus on supporting your body after a long season of juggling everybody else. And for a limited time, do it with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.